Brittany here with Pure Canine Training, and this is Roxy Talks with the Rox. Here with the Rox. I have a couple of questions I'm going to answer, and maybe we'll chat a bit. So let's jump in. Question: how do I mentally exhaust my dogs? Answer: you have to mentally challenge your dogs. So you can do that a few different ways. You can do that through obedience. For example, if you're going to have your dogs in a heel, that's really challenging because your dog wants to be out sniffing the grass, chasing squirrels. Your dog wants to be out in front of you doing everything else, but making them think to stay in one position is really difficult. So when they have to think about where they are, it's challenging. Same thing with thresholds. If you have them respecting thresholds, they really want to rush out and they want to be sniffing the grass. They want to go greet the person outside. They want to go chase that squirrel or that cat. But they have to think about that boundary. So mentally, they have to think about what's in front of them versus just giving into their impulse. So if you have a good obedience session, your dog will be tired mentally. Treadmill, if your dog is treadmill trained, treadmill is a great way to burn energy. Not just physically, but mentally, because it's so different from just taking your dog on a walk. Because if your dog is just walking down the sidewalk, they can change their pace, they can look around and pay attention to anything. But if your dog is on a treadmill, it is moving at a specific pace, and your dog has to pay attention to the sidewalk moving under them. On regular sidewalk, they're moving, and the sidewalk is stationary. On a treadmill, the sidewalk is moving at a particular pace, and they have to adjust their pace to the pace that the sidewalk is moving. So it takes a lot of focus. So that can be mentally exhausting. Another thing is, and I recommend everyone do this, is duration work. You get to duration work first off you have to teach a place command. Place can be anywhere, but place is basically you're giving your dog a boundary, and the boundary is just not too much bigger than your dog, and you're basically telling your dog you can't step out of this boundary until I tell you to. So the difference between teaching place and duration is you're having your dog stay in place for a duration of time. So you work up to a specific duration of time, and you do it, you start doing it in everyday life. You do it over and over. So you can work up to 30, 45 minutes to an hour or more. You can start doing it while you're eating dinner. Your dog is in place doing duration work because they're going to sit there the whole time you're eating dinner. That's hard because they want to be over at the dinner table with you. They want to know what you're eating. But the challenge is here's this boundary, and you've said you can't leave this boundary. So as much as they want to pay attention to everything outside of that boundary, they have to pay attention to that boundary. And that's so hard for them. That is mentally exhausting also, because I want to step outside this boundary, but I am not allowed to step out of this boundary. So what you see a lot of times with duration work is dogs that are just so crazy hyper, as much as they want to step out, when they learn that they can't step out of that boundary, they just start to simmer down and calm down. Most dogs end up falling asleep because they give in. I can't step out of this boundary. Okay, might as well just chill out. And that's what you want. They're so tired of trying to step out of the boundary. It is mentally exhausting, so they relax and chill out. Equivalent to you doing something mentally challenging, you're going to be exhausted and you're going to need to probably take a break. You're going to probably want to nap or go chill out and watch TV, but you're not going to want to do much that takes a lot of brain power. So that's the goal for your dog. When you want to mentally exhaust your dog, you have to do something mentally challenging. Alright, question. Hello. Hey. I love your approach and the things you post. Thank you. I'm really glad that they're helpful. They're there for you guys. My rescue boxer Ellie is coming along and we are working on leash reactivity. It's going well. I need to be super clear about boundaries in everything. Very hard for me. I tend to spoil her. Any practical tips on how to reinforce leadership day to day? Well, before I can give you any tips on leadership, we need to address a few things. So, first off, it's the fact that you're working on the reactivity and it's going well, keep it up. That's great. But the thing is, we need to address why it's so hard to set boundaries. And that's going to tie into why she's spoiled. This is hard for a lot of people. So, the thing is, it's how do we view our dogs? Our dogs are predators. Our dogs are domesticated predators. They have some really, if you lift up their jowls, it will help you see her a little differently. Look at these chompers. Those are meant to crush bone and rip flesh. And that's a predator living in your home. So those boundaries are necessary. Huge canines, you will see, especially in larger dogs, teeth that are meant to crush bone, tear flesh. Not human flesh, of course, but, you know, they can rip up small animals. You know, they can eat a chicken, and, you know, a lot of people feed raw. And they have no problem ripping apart flesh and bone. And it's not a bad thing, it's not a gross thing, it's just a natural thing. They also have a pack mentality. Dogs crave leadership. In a pack, there's always a leader. There is no democracy. If you are not the leader in your household, or if there is no leader in your household, then whether or not it's reluctant, the dog will become that leader because they see that there's a void. There's no democracy. There has to be a leader in a dog's world. So if you can try to get into your dog's mind even a little bit and try to understand what they see, it's not the same as the world that we see. Their world is different. Now they're living in our world, and they have the amazing ability to adjust to our world, but they are still dogs. Dogs live in the moment. So if you're carrying any baggage, if you're carrying emotional baggage, feeling like my dog was a rescue, my dog has major health problems, my dog was in the pound for 6 years, you know, whatever the case may be. Or maybe not in your case, but just in general. You know, a lot of people feel bad and they carry that with them. But the thing is, your dog isn't carrying that. Your dog doesn't care. Your dog is living in the moment. Your dog is thinking about today, and your dog is just happy to be in your house with a loving family. Your dog is happy-go-lucky. Your dog doesn't care about the past 6 months, the past week. Your dog isn't thinking about it. So you're carrying unnecessary emotional burdens that your dog has no idea about. But it is affecting your dog because it's affecting your energy, which affects them. So you need to find a way to view your dog differently so you can get rid of that emotional baggage, change your energy, and that way you won't feel so bad for maybe saying no to your dog, or correcting your dog, or being firm with your dog, because that's what your dog needs. Your dog is not a child. Your dog doesn't see the world the way we see it. Your dog is a predator, a domesticated predator that definitely needs structure and leadership. You have to provide that. So, knowing that, I think if you can change the viewpoint and try to see the world through your dog's eyes, it will definitely help you feel more comfortable setting boundaries, and that will help you stop spoiling her. Now, on to leadership tips. There's definitely things you can do just as far as leadership exercises. You can do waiting for food. You can do crate protocols. You can do place, duration, thresholds, things like that. But keep in mind, if you're doing that halfway and you don't do it consistently and you're kind of half-hearted, like you still feel bad, you don't really want to correct them, then your dog knows that. You're not tricking your dog. Your dog knows. You're not fooling them. So you have to be committed 100% to being a leader and be believable. If you're not believable, it's not going to work. Your dog won't see you as a leader. You have to step up into that leadership role and take it from your dog. Believe me, your dog is willing. Your dog is more than willing to give that role over to you. You just have to take it. You have to step into that role because it should be yours.